It is a great delight and honor that I have the opportunity to present to you one of this world's, certainly this nation's consciences. My association has been well over a decade and a half, and to be a part and watch his vision, his growth, and his commitment to our community is a solid one. I'm going to we'll call you on Radio 1, family. Family, warmly greet the Reverend Mr. Reverend Al Sharpton of the National Action Network.
Thank you, Larry Young, who chairs National Action Network in Maryland and the morning host on WOLB. To my far left is the president of the National Urban League, Mark Morial. To his right is the president of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, NAACP, Dr. Reverend Cornell Brooks. On my far right is a pastor here in Maryland and a national board member of National Action Network, Reverend Delman Coates. Next to him is Reverend West, who has been in the streets since day one here in Baltimore, since the day Gray was found dead, been leading the vigils at night and is now organizing youth for National Action Network in Baltimore. I'm glad to have him with us, Reverend Wesley West. Reverend Yeary, who pastors here at the historic Douglas Church here in Baltimore and is the pastor of the mayor, and of course Larry Young. Let me say a couple of things. One, we are here because of two things. One, there is a young man that has lost his life, and we want to know why, and we want to know what. And it is connected to a series of things around the country. This is not just a Baltimore problem. It is Gardner case in New York. Eric Garner's mother's here this morning. Stand up, Miss Gwen Carr from Staten Island. Pastor Victor Brown is here. It is from Staten Island to Ferguson to North Charleston to Tulsa to here. And we've been involved in all of them. And we are trying to act as though these are problems that you can handle in isolation. There must be a national response to a national issue. And we can't keep running like hamsters on a treadmill from one town to the next. It's time for a national answer to a national crisis of policing. Secondly, it is time to end the scapegoating and start dealing with solutions. I came day before yesterday and met with the mayor at City Hall. I don't know the mayor. We might have been at 3 or 4 occasions. But I know unfairness when I see it. To act as though this mayor, in this period of time, could undo 50 years of neglect and 50 years of you riding by bad housing and act like you didn't see it. Don't blame the last mayor for what the last 50 years of mayors and governors didn't do. And then for others to now get sanctimonious, talk about she finally called. I've been in out of Baltimore a long time. We've been calling a long time for justice. We were just walking in here now, in a church. One reporter stick his mic in her face, I'm on Fox News, you're going to answer now, and start falling back like somebody pushed. Hit me on tonight like we hit him or something. I tell you right now, just watch the circus tonight. Like somebody hit him, he starts falling back and boom, boom. Play acting. Times are too serious to play them games. try and incite a reaction and cover the reaction, the media needs to be responsible. Quit playing with matches in Baltimore. We are hearing all kind of leaks. This is what ignites all kind of emotions. All that the community and the families ask for in Baltimore and people all over the country is the facts. And the reason people are marching, white and black, young and old, in peace, is for the facts. People say, well, does civil rights work? I can show you where it works and where it's not complete. The reason that the national civil rights groups are here is because if it was when there was disturbances 50 years ago in Watts, wasn't only an anniversary 50 years ago in Selma, 50 years ago this year, Watts exploded. And the head of the Urban League and the head of the NAACP and Dr. King and others came in after to try and say the voices of the unheard must be heard, but we need to come out of this and have solutions. That is the spirit that we come in today. If you know history, then you ought to report it. Most folk don't know. We had people talk about Dr. King was alive, this wouldn't happen. It did happen when he was alive. And he had to go in when we did. You should do research. And we're going to do what he did, try to help work with some of the young people, Reverend West and others, that have gone out here. I see Reverend Yearwood from hip hop. Go out here and deal with this. These young people want answers that you were not willing to give them. Don't blame their parents for not being able to provide for them what you have not made available to them or their parents. Now, civil rights had worked to the degree of putting the doors, of opening doors. One of the graphic examples of the success of civil rights is 3 black women are pivotal in the Gray case. A black attorney general named Loretta Lynch, a black state prosecutor, and a black woman mayor. None of them would be in office if it wasn't for the civil rights movement. Now the question is, are we going to finish the movement by dealing with policing and criminal justice? And that's the challenge. And that's why we're here. And that's why we're going to be on the ground and do what we have to do. One of the most influential people, black or white, in the music world is with us this morning, who is committed to help organize. I saw he reaches out, Beyonce put out an Instagram this morning. We're going to communicate to the young people that we want justice, but we must operate in a just way. Every brick thrown could be a roadblock against getting justice for Gray. Those that influence them will be organized. Stand up, one of the legendary men from Baltimore originally, Brother Kevin Lyles. Miss May, I didn't come here by myself. I brought everybody with me. We are also committed personally in National Action Network and in other groups that it broke our hearts to see what happened at the center being built by Reverend Dante Hickman. Reverend Hickman, whatever we have to do, we're going to help you rebuild that center. You are a national project now. He's a good brother, a great preacher. And what he did is something that must be completed. And we want to pledge openly, Reverend Coates and I talked about it a long time, that we're going to do whatever we have to do to help raise the money to finish that center. National Action Network is planned, has said that we wanted to do a march from Baltimore to Washington, which we will do this month. We delayed it because of the violence. We're going to have it tight and ready. Because we must go and lay down before the Congress the issue of jurisdictional thresholds, the issue of policing. We had a huge march, tens of thousands, December 13th. We said then, after the cases that we have spearheaded, then that this has to be dealt with. Here we go again. And we can't keep just going from city to city. We've got to deal with this as a national crisis. Baltimore can be the model of how we correct it, how we turn it around, how we show the nation that this is enough. That is what we are committed to do. So I want this mayor to know, we don't know the political differences, we don't know whatever, but we do know that whatever happens going forward will set a national tone toward national solutions. The ugly writings and cartoons and the little inferences that have been made against this mayor is a distraction from you dealing with the poverty and the unemployment and the lack of equal education. Don't scapegoat her for what has been institutionally unequal in this town. We want to see justice. Somebody wrote an article, I was reading coming down, Sharpton, Baltimore. I just got here and it's already mine. No justice, no peace is provocative. No justice means you can't have real peace without justice. Yeah, I helped popularize the slogan. It meant peace means justice. Most folk don't want peace, they want quiet. They want folk to just shut up and suffer. We want real peace, and that comes with the presence of justice. And let us do that, but we want it in a way of dignity. We are not violent. We're trying to stop the violence. And for us to be here almost 2 weeks later and not know why this young man lost his life, for people to be playing games in the deep South, in North Charleston, young man was dead, video sent in, they fired the cop and arrested him that day. You telling me they got no respect for life in the deep South where they have a Confederate flag over the state capitol than we do up north? We need to quit playing games and start dealing with one level of justice and not scapegoat people, but start dealing with the institutional inequality. So, Ms. Mayor, we want to bring real peace. We want to support you in the efforts of real peace. But real peace is also dealing with jobs and housing and education. Real peace is when you fought by yourself against this law enforcement Bill of Rights. And many that are criticizing you wouldn't stand with you. If they stood with you then, maybe we would not have had to be here today. We know her record has answered this before Gray. Now we get some after Gray concerned officials that if you'd been there before, we may not have been here. It is with that we pledge to work, but we will hold those accountable we work with. And we come to support the local leadership. We're here to support y'all. So don't worry about what are we doing here. We're here for y'all, as we were in every city we go, and we want them to know you got national backup. So we are here, Reverend Hickman, we're here, Reverend Bryan, all of the work that is done. We're here to give the national support. May I bring at this time the mayor of this city, who has stood and tried to diligently work these last several days, and is going now that the state prosecutors has received, we understand, the package that was being publicized like it was a press conference rather than evidence. We want to stand today and say to people, let us get justice in a deliberate but expeditious way. The mayor of the city, Mayor Stephanie Rawlings Blake.